So today's warm-up, I made up 2 questions that covers what will be shown on the test. We have an absolute value inequality, solving for it on a number line, and we have given a graph, come up with the equation, find the transformations and attributes of that equation that you create. So starting with the first question, the first step you should do is isolate the absolute value by subtracting 8 on both sides. And that's going to give me -4. Absolute value of 6 minus 2a is greater than or equal to -32. I'm going to divide by a negative number. When I multiply or divide by a negative number, I know that my inequality sign needs to change. So I'm left with 6 minus 2a is now less than or equal to 8. Now with this one, we have to create the negative side and the positive side of the absolute value. So we have 6 minus 2a does not change. And you're going to change this sign right here to a greater than or equal to. And if you do that, that means you have to change the 8 to a -8. Same thing happens on the other side. You just rewrite it the same way it's written in this simplified absolute value inequality. So here we have 6 minus 2a less than or equal to 8. So we need to solve this first one over here. Minus 6 on both sides. -2a greater than or equal to -14. We're going to divide by a negative. Therefore, you have to switch the sign again. And that gives me a is now less than or equal to, and we've got 7. Here we're going to do the same thing. Subtract 6, I've got -2a is less than or equal to 2. Divide by a -2, which switches the sign again. So that's going to give me a is now greater than or equal to -1. There's my inequalities. My number line is going to be -1 going to 7. I'm going to have closed circles because of the equal to sign on the bottom. And then at -1, greater than means I'm going to the right. And at 7, less than means I'm going to the left. And I care about where these 2 lines overlap. That's the graph. We have 2 separate ways of doing the interval and set builder notation. So we'll go ahead and start there. Interval notation gives me a hard bracket at -1 going to 7. And set builder notation, I'm going to do it just one way with the word and in there. So I've got the solution set of a such that a is greater than or equal to -1 and a is less than or equal to 7. That's what you can expect to see on your test, the actual word and. That takes care of this question. The second question was, given coordinate points in a graph, can you come up with the equation? So the first thing that you do when you see this question is that you look at the vertex, so the lowest or highest point here. For me, this is a minimum point, so I'm looking at the lowest point. I see that the graph opens upward, so it should be a positive a value. I'm going to go ahead and start with the vertex and write my equation. So I've got y is equal to some number for a. I've got x plus 2 minus 3. The x value is the one that changes inside of the equation. The y value sticks because that's the d value. The c value switches, the b value switches. But when you're coming up with an equation based off the graph, the b value stays 1. So we're not going to change the b value at all. Here, we need to figure out what our step is. I did this question on purpose. I wanted to know that you could see that that was a point there as well as these 2 points here. So here I have to go up 1, 2, left and right 1. So my mapping is up 2 and left and right 1. Well, if that's my mapping, there's my fraction. 2 over 1 is 2. That is the equation. So what I did is I took this equation, I put it on a calculator, and I went ahead and found the minimum point, which is menu 6.2 in your calculator. Scroll to the left, hit enter, scroll to the right, hit enter, and it gives you your point. Then I went to x-intercepts, which is menu 6.1, went to the middle, scrolled to the left, hit enter, went to the middle again, menu 6.1, came here, and then arrowed over here to get this answer right here. That gives me my 2 x-intercepts. And to find my y-intercept, You do menu 510 enter, and those are the points that I need to help me with the attributes. So let's go ahead and come back to the board over here. Let's go ahead and talk about the A value. The A value is 2. So we know that there's no reflection over the x-axis. Okay, and we know that it is a vertical stretch by a factor of 2. We also have a vertical stretch by a factor of 2. Your B value is 1, so there's no changes on the B value because we're given the graph. B value is going to stay as 1 because we can make our representation on A just by looking at the graph. Your C value, well, if I don't know that it's the opposite, then I'm going to take x plus 2, set it equal to 0, and solve it. X equals negative 2. Well, that's going to give me my axis of symmetry as well as the C value. So if my C value is negative 2, that means that I'm moving left 2 units. So that's a horizontal shift left 2 units. My D value is negative 3. That means a vertical shift down 3 units. This is what you can expect to see on your test. Your domain is all real numbers. That's going to be shown 2 ways. Negative infinity to positive infinity. This is interval notation. And set builder notation is a solution set of x such that x is an element of all real numbers. For the range, we start from this bottom point and we go up forever. So we're going to start at negative 3 with a hard bracket. We're going to go up to infinity. This is interval notation for the range. Set builder notation, we dealt with x's for domains, so that means that we're going to deal with y's for the range. The solution set of y such that y is greater than or equal to negative 3. Those are the 2 ways of showing domain and range with interval and set builder notation. Vertex was already given to you as part of the graph. Negative 2, negative 3. Notice that the negative 3 is the range. You just have to look and see which way it's opening up or down. The axis of symmetry comes from the x value. So x is equal to negative 2. It is also your C value. X-intercepts I already found. We're going to start with the lowest one, or the one furthest to the left. So you got 3.5 comma 0. And you've got 0.5, negative 0.5 comma 0. And your y-intercept is at 0, 1. That takes care of your warm-up.